All right, thank you everyone for joining today. I think we'll get started now. Welcome to Commerce Within Trusted Content. There's two speakers today. Myself, I'm David Waltzman. I'm our head of strategic partnerships at Feedonomics. I deal with our partners, both from where data comes from, as well as where we send data to from our platform. And so today we're focused on Verizon Media and all the capabilities that they have and how we work together. Joining me today is Grant. Grant, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, David. Pleasure to be here today. So my name is Grant Kelly. I'm based in San Francisco, and I'm on our native sales team at Verizon Media. So I work very closely with our advertisers in the retail, D2C, and travel space.
Great, thank you, Grant. So I believe you're up first, so take it away.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. There's basically three areas that I would like to cover today. First, we'll go into recommendations that we're sharing with our advertisers during the pandemic. Second, I'll provide a snapshot of Verizon Media and our native formats that are built for commerce. And third, I have a few slides to share on our dynamic product ad solution. So let's dive into the content. Okay, first, recommendations that we're sharing with our advertisers right now. There's 5 main recommendations that we have for advertisers. As you can see here on the slide, a few of these are self-explanatory, but others I would like to dive in a little bit further. So we all know that COVID-19 is not going away. It's front and center in the news every day. It's across news, lifestyle, sports, you name it. And what we're actually doing as a publisher is that actually half of our content is positive or uplifting. So when it comes to brand safety and where you might want to appear, just know that not all COVID-19 content is equal. And there are areas that brands certainly would be comfortable with in appearing next to. The other key things is talking more about the environment, and I'll share some insights that we have from talking to our users when it comes to premium, trusted editorial environments, and then just talking through how you can actually be helpful and personalized, which is very relevant for our discussion today when it comes to commerce. So the first thing I want to hit on here is really around trusted brands. So we're unique in the sense that we have our own journalists, we have our own editors, and what we're hearing from consumers right now is that they need a lot of news and information, and they want to go to sources that are very trustworthy. So 8 out of 10 consumers that we've polled say they need content from trusted sources during this time of crisis. And we stand to benefit as well because they want that information from environments that are professional versus social channels. So another area that advertisers can be relevant right now is just providing utility for people by being helpful and relevant. So whether that's tips for adjusting your services for ordering online and pickup in store, curbside pickup, revising payment terms, or perhaps offering free trials, whether you're a streaming entertainment provider or if you have a health and fitness service, or even actually we've seen a lot of success in retail where retailers are actually creating flash sales where everything on the site might be 30% off or 50% off for a given weekend. Next, I'd like to dive into a snapshot of Verizon Media and our native formats that are built for commerce. So as you can see from a bird's eye view, this is ComScore data showing that we're the #2 unique visitor digital media company out there in the US. This is January Comscore data and is both for desktop, mobile, and tablet. So we're #2 in reach. So we certainly have a lot of your customers and potential customers to begin with. So let's go into our commerce ecosystem and what actually that means under the Verizon Media umbrella. So #1, let's go into the content. People are coming to us for finance, news, entertainment. These are areas where we are #1 in those particular categories. They're also coming to us, in terms of like autos, lifestyle, and shopping, as well as technology information. Secondly, our commerce ecosystem is actually being expanded because we're seeking high quality premium publishers. So you can see that ranges from portals such as MSN, OEMs such as Samsung, in addition to Apple News. And our most recent partnership is with Nextdoor, and they've actually seen their traffic double during the pandemic as people are looking to their neighbors to share best practices and provide help and advice within their neighborhoods. The third piece of our ecosystem is really around the data. So that's everything from content consumption to carrier data to actually purchase receipts, email domains. All of this is really the secret sauce when it comes to how you can leverage these signals for prospecting new customers. This slide goes into how we can actually help you guys with different formats throughout the shopping journey. So our ad product team really uses native as the core format for innovation, experimentation, and making things very unique within a shopping experience. So, starting at the top of the funnel, that could be a full screen unit that's built for mobile to announce things like I mentioned before, a flash sale or changes to shipping. It also goes all the way down to dynamic product ads, which we'll spend some time talking through today, that are connected to a feed where you can have your entire catalog of products available for prospecting new customers or for retargeting based on their behaviors on site. And we also have things such as touch points and mobile wallet that can bridge the online to in-store connectivity. Now our marketplace overall is 60 billion native impressions a month, so it's a pretty vast ecosystem when it comes to the native format and what you have at your fingertips. The next thing I'd like to talk about is shoppable AR. So how we're innovating this with our 5G technology and our innovation labs is really about taking this a step further. So AR 1.0 was probably just placing an object in a room, or perhaps getting creative with like glasses on your face to see how they look. The 2.0 version is really connecting that to a feed. So as you can see here from the visual, checking out like a sofa or coffee table or dresser in your room to see how it looks and feels, but also being able to immediately go to that landing page to transact or to get more information on the product. This is a highly engaging format, and with our innovation here, we're making it more shoppable and creating fewer steps for the user. Now let's go deeper on dynamic product ads. So this is a solution that essentially, we connect to a feed, as you'll learn more about, of course, from our friends here at Feedonomics and their capabilities. But what it means for us at Verizon Media is we've really tailored this solution for retail, travel, and also we can implement it for automotive as well. So whether this is retargeting based on certain behaviors that people that view products abandon their carts on your site, or if you want to drive them to transact within your app, we have capabilities that are tailored and schemas that are built for these specific endemic verticals. And the beauty of it is it's a very automated solution. So whether that's serving native ads to find new customers on mobile or in-app or desktop, one feed allows you to actually serve all these permutations and iterations of your advertising across all devices and across all types of publisher pages. So the next thing I'd like to talk about here is really going a little bit deeper on the data that we have at our disposal here at Verizon Media. So you can see this is an example from Microsoft Surface. And what we can do to help them find new customers is, for example, during back to school time, we might be able to see from our mail data that the user is actually applying for student loans. They also might be conducting a search looking for the best tablets that are out there for this upcoming back to school season. Or they might be going to TechCrunch and looking for reviews of the top laptops or tablets out there on the marketplace and what our trusted journalists might have to say. All these signals can essentially be blended into an amazing prospecting solution so that Microsoft Surface or other device manufacturers can use these signals to really drive sales. So here's a great case study from a retailer that is both brick and mortar and online. They use dynamic product ads as really an evergreen solution. They have several promotions throughout the year based on different seasonality or different price points. And in working with us, we've really got this down to a science where we're bidding differently based on certain product sets. And it's really a phenomenal solution. We have separate feeds from them for promotions or deals. And as you can see here on the numbers, it really has been a successful strategy for them at driving sales and a great return on ad spend of $7. So how do you get started with dynamic product ads? Well, number one, we implement a pixel on the site. And then number two, we work with you on whether you're a retail, D2C, or travel, hotel, or a cruise customer. And we ingest those feeds into our platform, and we can tell you if there's any tweaks that need to be made to your feed, and we can get you set up and take things from there. And now I'll send it over to David to go deeper on his feed management solution.
Excellent. Thank you, Grant. That was really insightful. So Grant mentioned, that step 2 was feeds. And at Feedonomics, that's where we spend all of our days. And so our objective with Verizon is to send them the best data to organize their campaigns. So with Feedonomics, if you're not familiar already, we can connect to a variety of different e-commerce platforms. Most commonly, we see Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, Salesforce, and so on. We bring in that data, we aggregate it with any other sources of information, we then normalize it, optimize it, and then syndicate it to Verizon Media. Now, what's unique about that is that we're not just moving the information, we're actually creating channel-specific enhancements to the feed that includes how the data is structured, what it's called, what fields are available, all to make sure we fit the needs of each unique destination. All right, so what is feed optimization? It can mean a variety of things, based off of really the integrity of the data that you're starting with. Right? And so everyone thinks they have great product data in their e-commerce systems. They've invested lots of time. And I would say you're correct. You have the best data for your e-commerce site. But what happens though is once you leave to a destination like Verizon Media, is that you want to make sure that your titles are much more detailed, that when your descriptions are ported over, there's no rogue HTML or snippets that are in the way, extra spaces, all types of formatting snafus, that you're incorporating things like color, size, material, lots of things that wouldn't be necessarily required front and center on your site, but definitely makes sense when you're advertising on other channels. A great example is in the bottom corner there with Nike. Air Max is a really cool name for a shoe, but most likely no one's going to be searching Air Max unless they already know they want to purchase that. So replacing it with the brand, the product name, the product noun, and then the size and color, you'll find folks that are much farther along in their buying journey will have higher conversion rates, and you're going to have lower CPCs because it's more highly relevant to what you're actually showing. And so with Verizon Media specifically, some things to keep in mind that the titles are restricted to 100 characters. For those of you, probably with us already on Google Shopping, it's slightly less. Same case with description, 4,000 characters. Both these numbers should be plenty, but again, it's something that as the feed experts, our analysts understand, and we make sure that when we create this export channel, we abide by all these best practices to avoid anything getting cut off. At a minimum, there's 4 fields that are required. There's ID, title, description, image link, and link. Right, so ID is going to be something that's not going to be visible to someone looking at your ads, but it's a unique key that we use internally to make sure that everything's where it's supposed to go. We can also append campaign-specific UTMs to your links to make sure you're able to track on tools like Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics. Split testing on new channels is really important. Right, there's different demographics for different channels. There's different data structures, as we just mentioned, for different channels. So a split test, the most common ones that we do are with regards to title. So maybe you have a really strong brand, you want it in front, but if you're maybe a secondary or tertiary or even farther along brand, you might want to put the brand at the end and be, XYZ product by Acme Company. We can do tests for different product nouns. So maybe for shoes, you have basketball shoes, but should be cross trainers. We're able to experiment with those on a category basis and also look at them over time and create time-dependent data transformations. We can also do A/B testing with your images. Right? So different platforms have different image requirements, but if you have the flexibility to do a plain white background, maybe different angles of your product make sense, or even permitting lifestyle images versus standard stock photos. So these are all things that we can experiment with in our robust platform without breaking a sweat. As we're creating all these optimizations, it's still important to maintain integrity with all the required fields as we're moving along. So before we export the data to Verizon, we run our data governance queries that make sure for important categories that either an absolute value or a percentage of the assortment follows those restrictions. All right, so we want to make sure they all have titles, they all have descriptions, they'll have links that start with HTTP or HTTPS, otherwise it's not a valid link. If there's no link, then that's really bad as well, because there's nowhere for the person to buy your products. All of this is complicated, but we don't push any of that onto our clients, as you may know already. We're full service, we have 24/7 support, we have teams international with a 3-hour response time on standard requests, 1 hour on urgent. So we fully believe in this being a white glove service. And so for adding on a channel like Verizon, you'd simply just be reaching out in the feed support portal and asking one of our analysts to add on that channel. For everyone that's tuned in today, I would like to extend an offer for a complimentary feed audit. What this allows us to do is read in the current state of the feed, whether it's a raw feed as a new Feedonomics customer, or even as an existing customer to see the current state of your data, and then make the necessary recommendations where we see as low-hanging fruit so that you get optimal performance on Verizon. So in summary, we see that Verizon Media serves up content that's trusted by folks all over the world, whether that be their mail, sites like TechCrunch or Yahoo Finance. There's really not anyone else who owns all these properties that people are going to in their daily lives and is able to insert ads into that content. As Grant mentioned, there's over 60 billion impressions a month, and they are the leaders in non-social native. Right? The Feedonomics team, once you decide to move forward, which I highly recommend you do, is simply just adding an export destination and then following our internal best practices to create that Verizon export. And we really want to make sure that we partner with you on this because there's no extra cost to you as a Feedonomics customer to adding another channel like Verizon Media. So please reach out, let us create an optimal feed for that specifically instead of reusing another one potentially, and ensure you get max ROAS from your investment. Any questions? Let me pop over and see what folks have submitted. All right, Grant, I have one here for you. Can I use custom labels in the Verizon Media feed?
The answer is yes. We can accept up to 5 different custom labels. So if that's 30% off, for example, outdoor goods or things of that nature, as long as it's in the feed, these can be pulled into the ad with dynamic macros that are pulled in from the feed components.
Awesome. And to build on that from the Feedonomics side, we can handle unlimited number of fields. So if you're already using for let's say Google Shopping, and you want to take an extra level of granularity for how you're organizing campaigns on Verizon Media, we can add on that 5th one, and you could send all the existing plus that, no problem. Or let's say there's 3 additional custom labels that you want just for Verizon Media. We can choose for the export just to include those. So a lot of flexibility, and again, to ensure optimal performance. Let's see, another one for you, Grant. Is the bidding CPC, CPM, or CPA?
The bidding is CPC, but of course, if we have a pixel placed, we can track conversions and of course calculate return on ad spend.
Excellent. See, we have one that I'll take from the Feedonomics side. So does it cost any extra? Okay, so as I mentioned a moment ago, there's no extra Feedonomics costs for adding an export. Obviously, there will be cost in your ad spend with Verizon Media. And so if that's something that you have more questions about, we'd love for you to get in touch with Grant's team, and they can walk you through the best onboarding process. See, Grant, I have one here for you. How do I set up my Verizon Ads account?
Sure. So I think it first depends on what size of business you are. So for example, for D2C or SMB customers that may be using Shopify as a solution, we actually have an app in their marketplace that once you agree to the terms and conditions, it places the pixel and creates the campaigns very quickly, so you can get up and running fast, which is really important for SMB customers. Meanwhile, for mid-market or for enterprise customers, we have sales and account management teams that are aligned to your business that certainly can work with you, and we can facilitate all those pieces based upon your goals and your needs.
Excellent. Let's see. So another one from the Feedonomics side. Looks like someone's using a platform that wasn't mentioned in our slides, and they're wondering if they could still send to Verizon Media. The answer, yes, of course. At Feedonomics, our first route is to connect through API to some of the ones I mentioned. But if you're using maybe an older e-commerce site or a highly customized one that maybe your dev team did in-house, we can still connect. But what we would do is set up an FTP, and you would drop a CSV there. We can also work with other file types like JSONs or XML. And if you're not able to do that, we can even crawl your site and get the data that way. It's just it's not our preferred method, because if the website architecture changes and the tags are off, then the crawl breaks, and we need to work with you and kind of fight fires. But we can definitely take data however it comes. And Grant, maybe last one here for you. What countries does Verizon Ads cover?
So we're global. That's the benefit of working with us. So whether you want to run in North America, LATAM, EMEA, APAC, we've got you covered. We have over 900 million unique users globally. I shared some stats on the call today for our US-based customers, where we're the second largest digital media company out there. So we have tremendous scale, and yeah, excited to help you guys find your customers, or prospect and cross-sell existing.
Awesome. And on that note, with Feedonomics, we can syndicate to whatever country you'd like to use for Verizon Media. We also have folks on our analyst team that speak languages outside of English. And so if you're curious about whether or not we could do a native feed in a language like Spanish or French or German, please reach out, and we'd love to collaborate with you on that. So it looks like that's all the questions for today. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Grant, for walking us through all that amazing information with Verizon today. And we look forward to chatting with you all soon.
Fantastic. Thanks for the time today.
All right, bye.
Bye.